welcome back to another video. So I'm gonna be telling you guys all the books that I read in May, which I didn't read a whole lot. I read 9 books, which is less than what I usually will read because I read a lot on Kindle Unlimited. So I tend to read faster on there. I did read a lot of physical books though. I have them all right here. Which, speaking of, that's where we're starting at. So the first book I read was Saving Six by Chloe Walsh. This book broke me. So I thought that Binding 13 and Keeping 13 was emotional. The story of Joey and Aoife, 10 times worse. The stuff that they go through in this book, I can't even. Like, it's just unreal. This book had me bawling like a baby. Like, it was insane. And you think that this book will have you crying? Oh my goodness. Wait until you read Redeeming Six, because this is as soon as I finished this one, I jumped right into Redeeming Six. And I cried harder during this one than I did in Saving Six. Like, it's just, if you're gonna read these, definitely look up the trigger warning. A lot of heavy stuff in these books. And I rated them both 5 stars. Wait, no, actually, hold on. I think I actually rated them 4.5. Okay, so Saving Six, I rated 4.5. Redeeming Six, I rated 5 stars. Because a lot more goes on in here that is just insane. I highly recommend this series. I love Johnny and Shannon's relationship. One of my all-time favorite book couples, but also Joey and Aoife is in that list. Like, they are perfection, amazing, love them. And then I read Taming Seven. Oh, I think I just got lipstick on it. Which is Gibbsy and Claire's story. And this gives you a glimpse of what Gibbsy goes through. Gibbsy is he uses humor as like a coping mechanism. And throughout on Binding 13 and Keeping 13, he had me cracking up. Like, as soon as if his name popped up in the book, if he showed up in a scene in the book, I knew I was going to be laughing. Because he's hilarious. And in this, you kind of understand why he uses that as a coping mechanism. Because he goes through so much. It's heartbreaking, and I can't believe that's what he was hiding. It still baffles me about what he goes through. And Claire in here, no matter what, she's there for him through everything. It's so sweet. The relationship is literally the sweetest. And I was so excited to read Gibbsy and Claire's story. Like, I was just so excited. I cannot wait. Because each couple has 2 books. So Keeping 13, Binding 13, Binding 13, Keeping 13, Johnny and Shannon's story, and then Saving Six, Redeeming Six, Joey and Aoife's story. So obviously Gibbsy and Claire have got to have another book coming out, right? So I cannot wait for that. I rated this, what did I rate it? I rated this 4.5. And then after Taming Seven, I read a very popular book that I know I was late to reading this, but I'm so glad I did. Like, it's just perfection. Love the book. Love in Other Words by Christina Lauren. I can't believe I waited this long to read it because it's literally perfection. I loved every minute of this book. And of course, can you guess what my rating is? Can you guess? Let me just give you a minute. Guess what my rating is. If you guessed 5 stars, you are correct. I really want to read more Christina Lauren books. Like, she had me hooked. This is also a time jump. So it jumps from now to I think 15 years in the past. And then it goes on to 14 years in the past and 13 years and then 12 years, But it jumps from now when the 2 main characters are adults and living their own lives too. Going back and forth when they were younger and when they met and, how they became friends and their relationship through their friendship. Okay, the only thing that I'm not the biggest fan of this book. It still gave it a 5-star read because I love the whole book. But the only problem with it is a miscommunication trope. I don't like that because miscommunication, you can solve that, you know? You should communicate. I mean, I understand in the book why that happened, but it could have been avoided had they spoken to each other, you know? But other than that, it was really good. And then I read a dark romance called Does It Hurt by H.D. Carlton. I rated it only 2 stars. I wanted to like this book. I just don't really think I understood it. Like, the 2 main characters are really mean to each other. I don't understand why. So, like, I do like dark romances. I really do. But I don't necessarily like it when throughout the entire book or most of the book, they're really, really mean. Like, okay, so I love enemies to lovers. I love that trope. And I don't mind, I guess, in the beginning when they're kind of mean, but really they don't actually mean what they're saying. But in this book, it's just, they were cruel, okay? That's the word I'll use. Cruel to each other. And I just wasn't vibing with that. So I only rated it 2 stars. I do hear H.D. Carlton is a good author. Maybe it just was this book I wasn't a fan of. This is my first book by them, by the way. I do want to read, is it Haunting Adeline? I do want to read that. That one's really popular, so maybe I'll like that one. I'm going to give them another chance. Either this book just wasn't for me, or this author just isn't for me. Next I read is Next I read is The Kiss Thief by L.J. Shen. This is another book that I was not a fan of. I rated it 2 stars. Okay, so I love, billionaire romances, age gap romances, all that. And that's what this book is. It's billionaire, age gap. But again, okay, the main male character in here was just mean. I don't know, like, enemies to lovers, the kind that I like is more like, okay, so like Sophie Lark's book, Brutal Prince, that, I guess that's kind of more like a fluffier dark romance book. But it was really good, and the characters are kind of like enemies to lovers, but they weren't like cruel to each other. Again, this book might just not be for me, because I hear that she does have some great books out there, and I want to try and find that. Although the cover, love this cover, put it right here. And then next I read King of Sloth by Anna Hong. Ate this book up. I rated it 5 stars. This is my favorite one out of the Kings of Sin series. It was so good. Ate it up. I love Xavier and Sloane. I love their banter. I love the fact how Xavier really gets on Sloane's nerves. Sloane like manages Xavier to make sure he doesn't get in any trouble. And of course, does he listen? No, he doesn't listen. And this is the Target edition. It's got like the artwork. That's so cute. That's them. Xavier and Sloane. So cute. So love the spine on this. You see that? Love that. And I'll wait for King of Envy. Although, okay, so King of Envy, it's about 2 main characters that you, I think, first meet in this book. Because I don't remember hearing about them in the other 3 books. But you hear about them in this. So I have no idea necessarily who these people are. So I'm excited to get to know them. So if you haven't read the King of Sin series, I do recommend it. Although my least favorite one, I want to say, I'm going to say it's probably the second one. My favorite. Okay, so like the second one. Okay, so let's do this in order. This is like my number 1 favorite. Rated this 5 stars. My second favorite would be King of Greed, which that one was like heartbreaking. My third one would be King of Wrath. And then my least favorite one would be King of Pride. All right, we just have 2 more books. Next I read is The Catch by Amy Leah. I rated it 3.5. Okay, so like I fully enjoyed this book. I read it pretty fast. I mean, it's pretty short, as you can tell. But I read it pretty quick. The only reason why I didn't rate it higher is because it felt a little too insta-lovey for me. because the two main characters only knew each other for like a week or two and were already confessing their love for each other. And for me, I like it when it kind of takes time, at least a month or two. Like in King of Sloth, they have known each other for months, I believe, how they finally start to connect and fall in love and all that. This, it took them literally 2 weeks. But other than that, it was still really cute. This is like, it's a small town and it's fake dating. A grumpy lobster fisherman tosses a fashion influencer's impeccably curated life overboard in this charming romantic comedy. And then the last book I read was The Wild Side by Cassie Ann L. Miller. This is the first book in the Wild Westbrooks series. That marriage pact I made with my grumpy off-limits best friend, that was totally a joke, right? It was a heat-of-the-moment agreement scribbled onto the back of a crinkled gas station receipt 9 years ago. If neither of us are married by age 30, we'll marry each other. Haha, so funny. Cash moved to a city 500 miles away, building his billion-dollar empire, making a name for himself. Me, I stayed in our gossipy hometown, working a simple job, living a simple life. And we never discussed the marriage pact again. What if we give this a shot? What if we're crazy enough to try? What if we're good together? The Wild Side is a steamy, laugh-out-loud, friends-to-lovers, small-town romance. It is set in small-town Iowa and is book 1 in the Wild Westbrooks series. I rated it 3 stars. So I will continue this series. Like, I didn't not like it, but I do enjoy the Brighton family series more, which I've already read. I'm really excited for the 4th book that's coming out, but the Brighton family series is like connected to the Wild Westbrooks series. So the Wild Westbrooks is actually before the Brighton family series. That was all the books I read in May. I read a total of 9 books. I consider it to be a decent reading month. I rated a couple books 2 stars, so that was a bit of a flop, but what can you do? Not every book you read you're gonna love. I really hope you guys maybe found some books that you want to add to your TBR. Yeah, and I will see you guys in my next video.